You've probably heard a lot about mental illness, and you may or may not have a lot of preconceived notions about it. The truth is, most people do. You might think it means being crazy. You might think it has something to do with not being able to function on a daily basis. You might even be a little fearful about it. In all honesty, you may even be suffering with some form of mental illness yourself. But you probably wouldn't think a normal girl like me would be suffering from mental illness. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. First off, I'd like to explain that mental illness is just that, an illness. Just like being sick with the flu or even something more serious like cancer or heart disease, it's something that you can't consciously control. There's a pathological presence in your body and it needs to be treated just like anything else. People don't see mental illness this way because they can't see the physical evidence of any sort of sickness. On the contrary, however, there's plenty of physical evidence. For example, an extremely common form of mental illness is anxiety disorder and panic disorder. This is what I have been diagnosed with and deal with almost every day. The word anxiety is thrown around a lot because feelings of anxiety is natural in human life. In the sense I'm speaking of, though, it's actually a pretty debilitating condition. So anyway, an anxiety or panic attack can have very real physical symptoms. Just to list a few, there's shortness of breath, dizziness, sweating, racing heart, nausea, vomiting, headaches, fatigue, muscle tension, muscle aches, twitching, irritability, overactive bladder, hot flashes, lightheadedness, and like I said, that's listing a few. So clearly there is physical evidence of illness, yet people still tend to stigmatize disorders like this. Why? Well, throughout history, people thought of mental illness in a lot of different ways. It was thought to be due to things like possession by demons, a curse from a past life, and even witchcraft. Of course, we now know this isn't true, but the stigmatism still lingers. Like I said, you or someone you love may be suffering with some form of mental illness. And I'm here to inform you that it's not something to be ashamed of, and it's most certainly not something that should be judged by any means. The point is that for those who don't understand what it feels like, it can be very frustrating to deal with. But as somebody who has experienced mental illness firsthand, I can tell you that these people are incredibly and undeniably strong. They're dealing with a lot more than meets the eye. So next time you're dealing with someone with anxiety, for example, remember that they have very little control over it, and you probably won't be able to stop it for them either. But a little bit of compassion, patience, and reassurance does a pretty good job.